Welcome to the podcast, Mom.
Yay, I'm so excited.
We did
and
it.
terrified.
We're scared. Hi, I'm Frankie.
Hi, I'm Rena.
Welcome to the Celebrate You podcast episode.
I love that name.
Yeah, me too, right?
Celebrate
That's
You.
why we came up with it.
I know. So excited.
Yeah, I mean, okay. Obviously, Rena is my mom. If you
Right. That makes you my daughter.
Yes. We are nervous.
Yes.
We are nervous. First of all, we spent the whole morning, Rena got here at my apartment. If you're watching on YouTube, here's my apartment.
Yeah.
If you're listening, there's a YouTube version of this. But you got here at 10:30.
Right.
And it's now 1:15, and we've been rearranging this chair inch by inch, and the lighting, and
Right.
how to do the audio. And so we're nervous gals,
Yeah.
but we're trying to show up anyways.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, do you want to, there was a trailer, but if you didn't listen to the trailer of this podcast, what is the Celebrate You podcast, Mom?
Well,
/ Rena?
I think it's just a podcast for people to get to know us a little bit, for us to share our story with other people, and mainly to make this community of entrepreneurs and just people in general feel like they're not so alone. We want to share business stuff, but we want to share a lot of personal stuff too, because that's kind of who we are.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I agree. I mean, so Michelle, our producer, shout out to Michelle. We love her. This wouldn't be happening without her.
Exactly.
She also was encouraging us, how can we have a space for us as business owners that's a creative outlet for us, you and I, to debrief as a mother-daughter business the things that have been happening for us, the stories that we have, as well as, I think, especially you, Mom, you have so much to offer, in advice and all these things. But we hope that it's a place where, we're celebrating, you and I, we're, encouraging each other. But,
Right.
for someone listening, that, you feel like you have a seat at the table as you listen.
Absolutely.
And that as we share our stories, we're photographers and filmmakers, but even if you're not, that, you see some of your story in our story.
Sure.
So, also, I'm excited personally. I really love social media. I'm really interested in it, but I'm also excited to kind of dive into this new kind of passion project that's just for us, that is a place for us to explore long form content. We make clips, we make short videos for clients, and we do branding photography, but to have this outlet, slightly longer form content, more.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm excited to just sit down and chat with you.
Right, just more relaxed, more a little peek into how we kind of do stuff.
How we interact.
How
yeah.
we interact. It's kind of crazy.
It's so crazy. Yeah. So I guess today, is just kind of us introducing ourselves a little more in depth. I feel like those listening have probably been following us for a while, but if you're just tuning in, don't know who we are Rena and Frankie of Storia Studio. And we today just kind of want to get into more in depth about our story, because I think a question that we get a lot is what is it like to be a mother-daughter team?
Yeah.
And it's so normal to me, and we'll get into that in a sec. It's so normal to me, but I do think it's funny. It's funny, and there's just some stuff we can talk about, and there's something to speak into family-owned businesses.
Right.
I think there's something really cool about that.
Right,
so,
right.
and then we're gonna kind of also talk about how do you know when it's time for you to pursue the next step in your business or a new endeavor.
Right.
So if you're so it just felt weird to dive into another topic, but first, to me, we have to talk about our story.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think so too.
Yeah. So, okay. Let's start with a little bit of a warm-up.
Okay.
Okay. Warm-up question, because we're, I feel like I'm going to be editing this back, and I can hear, the nervousness in my voice.
Right.
But we're doing it anyways. But, to warm up.
I'm more nervous than you.
Yeah, but you're, poised. You're, a queen.
You introduced me to podcasts, so.
I know. I listen
I mean?
to so many podcasts.
Yes, you do.
Well, actually, no, my husband, Chris, shout out to him. He listens to a lot more than I do. But, yeah, I love podcasts.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm nervous to start one. Because
I
I'm
know.
I'm not like those people, but whatever.
We are who we are.
That's just it. That's it. Okay. So anyways, warm-up question, because we're nervous and we're going to warm ourselves up. So,
Okay.
the warm-up question that our producer gave us, thank you, Michelle,
Yeah.
is to describe each other the other in
Okay.
3 words.
3 words. Whoa.
Do you want me to start or do you want to start?
Okay, you can start because I have to think. Only 3?
Oh,
That's hard.
wow. We're Italian, so that's hard.
Yeah, 3 words for Italians.
Ooh, that's never going to happen. Okay, so...
3 words with explanations, I hope.
I think so.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's a
All right.
podcast. I'm an extrovert, so I'm just going to start speaking, and I don't know what's going to come out, so I actually didn't really think about this. 3 words to describe you.
Okay.
Passionate. Compassionate.
Stole my word. Damn.
And a problem solver.
Oh.
Okay, I'll expand on why.
Yeah.
Oh, problem solver. That's a good problem solver. That's
I
one.
love a good problem.
She does. Okay, so I would say, okay, let's back up. I mean, passionate, like, I think we're both very passionate in everything we do. But you, I don't know, like, you pursue the things, especially as an artist, like, you just, I don't know, you're just so good at telling stories, but you get really fired up when, like, I know that you're, like, in your zone when you're like behind the camera and you're like coaching someone and posing them in the studio and all this stuff. So, but you're just a passionate person. You're like energetic. Like I could just keep going and going. You know, compassionate, obviously. Like you're my mom, so I'm just like, of course you're compassionate, but like you feel so deeply, almost to a fault. Like, you know, like
It can get you into trouble.
it can, but we'll talk about that another
Yeah.
day. But I feel like I'm insulting you. I'm not
No.
not giving you good thing. I'm bad at this.
No,
Am
no,
I
you're
insulting
good.
you? And okay, we'll get compassionate. Like, how do I? Okay, wait. Pause. Side note.
I love that. P.S.
P.S. I don't understand. Okay, with this podcast, I'm spiraling for a second because it's like, how do I jam in
Yeah.
a lifetime of our relationship into an episode? I'm struggling because I want to just
Right.
go like, oh, I could give 40 examples of how you're compassionate, but like,
Right.
I kind of just give a little hint. So I'm struggling because we're trying to keep this episode short, and I just already know it's gonna be long, you
Right.
know. So I just like, it's just so funny to like when you like. I'm trying to let people in, but I'm also like,
Yeah.
we've been through so much together.
Of
Like, you're my
course.
mom, but
Right.
you're also my business partner.
Right.
So,
Right.
anyways, but to shed some light for those that don't know, like problem solver, because you're the type of person that like works backwards. Like you have a problem, like in our personal life or like something really big or something really small. You're just like, there's always a solution, even if it's
Yes.
hard. Like you're not afraid to examine the options. Like
Yeah.
you're not afraid to look at it. So you're a really good problem solver.
Well, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
That's
that,
a
you
lot.
know, that is a lot. Like, yeah, you can't give up. A problem is just a guide to like how you gonna navigate through something. There's always a way. It may not be the way you like, but there's always a way to
Yeah.
get through it. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so you kind of stole my words
Oh,
because I
shoot.
feel like
Dang it.
you're the same. I could say all those things about you. Like you're definitely passionate about your craft and about everything, your friends, your family. But I think the biggest one for you, I would say, empathy. You're empathetic to people. Like you really see another person's story, and validate that all the time. Like you don't judge anybody. Like it's amazing. It's a great trait. So I think that's one. I mean, gosh, there's so many.
I know this is so weird to be on the receiving end of this. It's hard to
Yes,
receive
yes.
that. I'm like, thank you, but
Yes.
that's hard to receive.
No, I think that's a big one for you. Like I feel like you just can relate to so many different types of people, no matter who they are. You're just so non-judgmental. That's a great
I strive
great
for
feature.
that.
Yeah.
Thanks.
But I mean, you're funny. You're fun to be around. God, what other
I
word?
think those were 3, right?
Was that 3? I don't know.
Funny,
you're
empathetic.
yeah,
and-
that's it.
I don't remember.
Well, empathetic and non-judgmental.
Yeah, there
That's
you go.
Yeah, like, I could go on for hours too
Aw, thank
because,
you.
I've known you now for 29 years.
I've been outed. My age has been outed.
Yes.
My birthday is
coming
I'm not
up.
29 yet.
That's true. Couple more weeks.
Couple more weeks. Ooh, oh, so side note about that.
Yeah.
Turning 29. The other day I was laying in bed and at 3 a.m, I like got up eyes wide open. I like looked out the window in the dark and I was like, I'm gonna be 29, and I like
Whoa.
freaked out, and I like had to calm down, and then I went back to sleep. So that's how I feel about turning 29. But I'm also like trying to embrace it because
I have no empathy for you there because I just turned 60. So haha, like.
I know,
29, you're a baby. Sorry.
But, like, I don't know. Like, at the same time, I'm like, goodbye 20s. Like, goodbye that version of me. Like, hello stepping into my 30s.
Yeah,
like,
which is great. You're going to love it. You're going to love it.
Why? Why do you say that?
Because, like,
and I really am asking.
First of all, I think people start to take you a little more seriously. I think you start to really know your value. Not that you didn't before, but, like, you have really... 20s is crazy because when you start, you have just turned really from a teenager.
Yeah.
And now you are real, and then it's this thing they call young adult or whatever.
Whatever that means.
Yeah, whatever that means. And now, like, you're more established, you know, your life is really just starting. It's great. You're going to love it.
Wow. Thank you.
Yeah.
But side note, though, I do think, okay, I'm going to say that a lot. Side note, it's like, I don't know. I think that no matter what age you are, it's okay to start something new and to work on something. Like, because I think there's something to be said of, like, you started this business with me at 58, so it's been like 2 years. Mm-hmm. It's never too late or too early to start. Like, I know people have started business when they were 16, and other people, they're just getting started and they pivoted like, at the age of 35. And that's, to me, I don't think that's old either. I think we're so critical of ourselves.
It's just a number.
I'm not critical of other people's because I'm like, sure, you're just getting started. When I look at myself, I'm like, oh my gosh, is that really how old I am? But also, like, I don't know. I'm trying to get better at just not, you were talking about, like, I don't judge other people. I'm trying not to judge myself as harshly.
Right, well, that's it. That's the key. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you have to, you're so good at the way you treat other people. Like, do that for yourself, So that's good.
That's some quality advice. Amen.
Yeah,
Amen to that.
We're always the hardest on ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. When did you feel like you learned that? Like, when did you feel like you stepped into that confidence? Because in your life, because you're like, I should have added that to your word. You're confident in who you are.
Yeah.
When did that change for you?
That takes a long time, I think. Well, for me, it did. Maybe not for everybody.
Yeah.
But, yeah. And I think it's your life journey, too, because sometimes, like when you have kids and you start forming them and they're out in the world, like you can't just step back. You have to show a good example for them, and you have to sometimes stand up for them. So it's like it's this slowly building, and it's so different because, like, I feel like sometimes we're taught to be more passive because that's like the kinder thing to
like
do.
as women, you think?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Or by men too, I'm sure.
Yeah,
face
definitely.
Those things. Yeah.
But and you don't want to come off as too aggressive. So learning to be assertive versus aggressive takes a while to do that dance.
Yeah.
So I think that it comes with time, but after a while you have to not that you don't care what other people think. I think we always kind of do, but like if you're doing the right thing for yourself, you have to be like, this is what I need to do, and move forward.
I think that, like, insight into us as a mother-daughter team, like, you are able to bounce back a lot more quickly from, like, a rejection.
I've had more practice.
In business.
Right.
But I would also say in our daily life, like, if something happens in our business and it flops, like, you don't, like, I'll, like, worry the rest of the day from some email or whatever, but you're, like, you just kind of let it roll off you, and you have you have the ability to kind of see empathy of, like, well, actually, Frankie, like, this is probably where that person was coming from, so why don't you, like, cool down for a couple hours and come back to this. Like, how did you get better at that? Because I'm still getting better. I'm still stepping into that.
Yeah, well, and I think, like, when my whole life, like, we didn't do anything by email and all these things, so sometimes you have to be careful, like, even how someone responds on social media or an email. Like, you're already thinking what they're thinking, and you could be completely wrong. So you sort of have to step back and sometimes don't we read emails twice and be like, that's not, you right away, sometimes we get defensive, but it's like, that's not exactly what they're saying. Yeah. So you have to really be careful. So communication is really key, I think, to not taking on something that maybe wasn't meant that way. Like, nothing is personal. That's how I feel. Like, so in what we do, especially, like, people are not going to always like, the product at the end. They might, and I mean, we're doing it the same way, just like setting for this. Like, we lamented all day.
Wow.
What angle? How do we look?
It gave me a lot of empathy for our clients. Yes. I'm like, this is hard for our clients to sit in front of a camera.
Right.
Because I don't usually do this.
Yeah. So sometimes in the visual world, it's not even so much our work isn't good, but like that person, and in this case, us, like, we're just maybe insecure. So
right. We're all just trying
like,
our best.
oh, I don't like that, but it's not, we can't take it personally because, I mean, sometimes not that we're perfect. It could be the quality of whatever, and we have to learn from that, which is fine.
Sure.
But, you have to just take it and pull out the parts that can make you better. And why waste your time on, the criticism if you're not going to make it make you better?
Wow.
That's how I see it.
Make it better.
Make it better.
Yeah, learn from it, grow
learn
from it.
Yeah. Always. Yeah. Always. Anything that happens.
And I could read like quotes on that all day long from Pinterest or Instagram or whatever, but to know it in my heart and to do it is another thing. And that's it. That's everything. Yeah. To back up a bit, I kind of jumped ahead. Yeah. That was phenomenal. Good job on that, by the way, because I didn't know we were going to talk about that. Because I think that's going back to being a mother-daughter team as filmmakers and photographers. I think that's what we offer too, is this like multi-generational like approach to things as well, even in how we run our business. Because you remind me sometimes, Frankie, like get on the phone with that person. Like Frankie, like why don't you like try this approach, or I'll do something to you, or like, hey, have you tried this? Whatever. I mean, you're very tech savvy. It's not about like one of us is tech savvy or another. It's just different. But our perspective, because like our clients vary in age and range in life, and it's just really cool. It's really fun. But so let's back up. Can you talk a little bit about like how we got started? Right. I mean, I don't know. Okay. I don't know. Do you want to back up even further? Do you want to go further back? Like, sure. Like how you got interested in photography?
Oh, yeah.
And then I'll talk about how and then because it's weird to jump right into the business. I'm like, well, that didn't just happen either. So let's back up. Yeah. What's your journey as an artist?
Oh, wow. Well, photography for me, I guess, if I go way, way back is like, because we always talk about this, like going through all the family pictures and photographs. Like my mom actually took a lot of pictures.
Yeah, she did.
Which for back in that time was, not everybody had the luxury of having a camera or whatever, and she managed to take a lot of snapshots, what we call snapshots, what would be like Instagram now, I guess, right?
I do see Instagram or Facebook and like these platforms sometimes as my photo albums. Yeah. I heard a friend say that once, and I was like, these are my digital photo albums. But anyways, continue. Yeah.
So I think I just always saw that, and then we're really blessed that we even have some great old film movies in the family, thanks to my uncle. And
so cool.
Yeah, it's so cool, and I just think
we're very well documented family.
Yes. So I think, especially when you guys were born, I definitely wanted to carry that on. But, that sparked my interest. And I think, gosh, how did I get interested in it? I don't know. Like in high school, I joined the photography club.
Shout out to Catholic High in Baltimore.
They had a dark room. I just thought
that's actually very advanced for like a high school at the time too.
Yes. Yeah. That was fascinating to me. Yeah. I loved that feeling of watching that image come in that pen out of nothing. It was magical. Like I loved it. Oh, that's cool. I loved it. So I was the school photographer for the paper, for the yearbook, and did all of that, and went on to college to study photography. Yeah. Now it was a different world when I came out of college. It wasn't a digital world. It was all film.
When did you graduate?
I graduated from college. From college, 82. Yeah. 82.
And I think that was the brink of like digital came into photography, but digital was really crappy.
Oh, yeah. I don't even think it was that early. Like, I used film until, I don't know.
Like film, after like you were born. Like actual film is just, it was crisper, it was beautiful. And then digital was like, how much was on a memory card at the time? Like,
oh, it's not even called.
What was it called?
You're talking about.
Do you know what I mean? When like.
Yes. Yeah, memory
I
card,
cut you
right.
off.
Yeah, no, but I'm thinking like back in the day when you took a roll of pictures, like it was
had,
like
like,
12
20.
on a roll.
Oh,
12. It was 12, 24, 36. But you had to know what you were doing.
Yeah.
There was no looking at the back of the camera.
Yeah.
You had to
Do a light meter test.
Yes, you
and-
had to really know what you were doing. You didn't want to waste a precious frame on something to test it. Whereas now we click, 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 delete, delete, all of that. So, that was really cool. But, at the time coming out, it's like, okay, what am I going to do with this now?
So, yeah, you graduated from Notre Dame, Maryland.
Yes, in 82.
82.
And
Shout out to them.
Shout out to them. Which was great. Also, great dark rooms, all of that. We had, just a, great bunch of professors and just a love of the art. So it was really fantastic. But, I wasn't I really didn't, I guess the part was I didn't know what to do with it from that point.
What kind of career?
Yeah, what kind of career. And I would have never thought of starting my own business back then. Like nobody ever even intimated that. And I would have
It wasn't
no
as
idea how to do it.
socially acceptable, I would say, either.
Yeah.
Right? Or am I putting words in your mouth?
Well,
like kind of from what you've told me.
Right. I mean, I guess you could just be like a freelancer, or work for a newspaper or something back in
There
that.
wasn't as much opportunity,
There wasn't
too, I think.
Yeah, it was a little, or like, did you want to become a wedding photographer? Which I never did. That didn't interest me.
Yeah.
And then fast forward, getting married, raising kids, it kind of,
Shout out to my siblings.
yes, kind of put things a little bit on the back burner. But like, I felt like I became like what I call a friends and family photographer.
Sure.
Like I did a lot for, and then it just kind of sparked from there. And then years later, kind of, formed my own little business like that. And which is where you came in because you were interested too. And you would help me with things. And then, then you can talk to your journey.
I mean, no, totally. I think that like the skills that you were honing your skills, that's the thing is like some things like, I don't think starting a business whether it's a business or pursuing something, some new creative thing, it doesn't happen in a vacuum. It can be literally like a lifetime of work and figuring out like, okay, what am I spending my free time in?
Right.
And then seeing, oh, maybe I am passionate about this thing. But yeah, I guess for me, like how I got into it, obviously, is because of you. Like literally, Rena is the reason. And also, side note, to count how many times I say side note.
Right.
That's something my cousin and I do. Shout out to Kendall. Like we're always like side note.
Side note.
Same with Deanna, my sister. We're like side note. But I think that we come from entrepreneurial family. I come from an entrepreneurial family. Like because of I can't speak to your parents, but like you and Dad, Jeff. I feel like I'm introducing people. I'm like, I have to like say their names. I'm like, this is my father, Jeff, and my brother Dominic and Deanna, and like we all have like side things, side businesses. Even Dad is like he's an engineer, but he did side work. Like when I was a child, like my dad would be at the dining room table I would be like, oh, Dad's doing his side jobs. And maybe other people had parents like that, but it was normal for me to see you guys working multiple jobs. Not just because I know you had to sometimes, but also like some of those things is because you wanted to. It was like, I'm doing this side thing. Because even for you, were a full-time mom, but you had multiple careers too. Yeah. Like you were like selling Discovery toys, which we can get into that another day.
Yeah.
Like shout out to them. You want to sponsor
I always
us?
try to do stuff to like that I could be home with you guys and still make some money.
And you were a life coach.
I was a life coach for 10 years.
And then, photography. I mean, you did get paid.
Yeah.
You just, like, it was hard to know for you, I know, when to launch, which is what we're about to get into. But,
and there's that, like, lack of confidence there. Like, what is this worth anything to anybody,
And then for me, like, and it sounds weird telling our story because it's ever changing because I look back, I might have told our origin story differently a couple years ago because now I reflect more. I'm like, it's not just, I was interested in photography and film. Like, to be honest, I was interested in the arts. Like, I did theater. I'm like a musical theater nerd.
Right.
Like, I did dance for 16 years, like art as an expression. And you guys always... We were a very artsy family.
Yeah.
Like, you and Dad were like, you got to go to music concerts. You guys got to, look how this story form is told. Like, we were very, like,
Yeah.
We were a very artistic family, and we all did other things. Like, my brother's a musician, Deanna's a dancer, like,
Yeah.
you know, Dad is a musician and passionate about that. Like, all these things, and I just was like, isn't everyone like this? But
Right. Yeah, and it kind of goes back even further. Like, Dad's father was a very
drummer.
Amazing drummer. You know, my dad, like, he just always had so many ideas. He invented things.
I know. He was a writer.
He was a writer. They tried to write a screenplay for a TV show. Like, all these,
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
unfortunately, he
I didn't know that.
passed young, but like,
Well, I knew that, but
yeah, and then they wrote, him and his friends, they would get together, they would write songs, lyrics, music. They tried to make
Wait
a
a minute.
Yeah, you didn't know that? Yeah.
The screenplay. I need to get a copy
Oh
of that.
yeah, I have it.
What if we made it?
I know. We could, yeah, that's a whole nother
That's,
story.
I think we need another podcast episode to talk about, like, your dad.
Yeah. So there was a lot, and it just is. It's kind of cool to reflect how it all comes together.
Because it's not in a vacuum. Like, I never sought out, on a personal note, like, I never was like, I remember, so I studied art in college, and it was completely life-changing. I think that academia and the arts can get a bad rep.
Yeah.
Because you don't necessarily have to have an art degree to then like pursue art, but I think it really like helped my education, and so that's kind of where it started for me. But backing up even further, like, as a kid we would, you know, like, make home movies together all the time. Like, we like, I always was putting in, even as a middle schooler, like, after I would watch a movie, like a DVD, I would put in the second disc to watch
the behind the scenes.
To watch the behind the scenes. And even though I didn't really know what I was looking for or why I was interested in it, like I love to see the camera people in the background.
How they made it, and
I loved that.
Yeah,
So
that
it
was
just
fun.
Just little things like that. And then fast forward, I actually worked for a nonprofit for 4 years after I graduated. I was working with artists,
Right.
on the not making art, but working with artists. And I think that then sparked something in me to be like, oh wait, like, I love art too. Like, what would it look like for me to start something? And then I was a freelance videographer for other random projects here and there. I did weddings for a while.
Right.
Again, like, my journey kind of has a lot of twists and turns in it too.
Yeah.
And I forget because I don't always remember, because it feels like a blur sometimes.
I know.
Like, how did I get
I
started, you know?
I know.
And then we, like, cause so basically you and I were, like, doing, then as of a couple years ago, we were doing, like, work on the side so much and helping each other so much that it was like, it was just the next logical step.
It was.
Of like, okay, what if we got started?
But
What if we started a business
what if we
together?
started a business?
But do you want to share about, like, you've always had that thought, but I was afraid of
I
holding.
knew it from day one. I was like, we're going to do this. And you're like, I don't know.
When I was, like, in high school, or like,
Yeah, or even starting college. I don't know. Well, you know, but that makes sense. I mean, like,
but you let me have my own journey.
I did.
Which was really cool.
I really did. You know, there's something to be said to being the third child.
Oh yeah, I'm the third child.
You make a lot of mistakes with everybody, and then I was like, I'm going to let her figure this out.
Oh, my poor siblings.
Which is like
not what you did.
not what I do. I'm like, because I can see so many things, and I'm like, no, just do this. This is what makes sense. But like, you're supposed to let your kids figure things out.
We need to have Deanna and Dominic on this podcast,
man,
because they're like, I just think we're all so different, and so similar, and it's so funny, and
well,
we were wild.
I think
the Cirquettis were wild.
Yeah, I think though, beyond like trying to help each other and stuff, what makes this so right for us is that I was able to like take all of my fears of starting a business and put it aside because I knew it was going to be something good for you. So at the beginning, I think I was thinking of it as like, I'm going to be like the person that is like trying to give you more confidence, or trying to be like that support for you.
You spurred me on.
Yeah.
Without realizing that, like, it turned into our business. But in the beginning, when I was freelancing, I was like, Mom, like, I don't know how much I should charge for this project. Or like, do you think I should like do this shoot? You were like, do it. Like,
Do it.
There's nothing to fear. I'd be like, but it's so far away and I have to drive 3 hours and I'm scared. You were like, you know how to drive. Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, please just go do it.
Right.
Like
because all the things that held me back, I'm like, don't do what I did. Don't be afraid. Just go and do it. And I will be here in the background, like, supporting you. And I think, like, the hardest part about the business at the beginning is, like, to find our worth and to find, like, you know, there's got to be this balance of, like, doing this thing that we love to do, but also it's a business. We need to get paid.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it was easier for me to see value in you than to see value in myself. It goes always back to that, right? So, like, I think that complemented each other well. Like, I think it really did. And we started to build from that, you know?
I think, like, stage one was, like, I would say even before Astoria became, like, an LLC, it was like, okay, maybe in the beginning you were like, I just want to support Frankie in this. And, like, I'm just here to support her. And then it was, like, very shortly after, it was like, this is a 50-50 relationship.
Right.
This is, like,
sure.
Like, I wouldn't have started a business if it wasn't for you either. And I think that not everyone has to have a business partner, but you have to find some sort of support. You have to find some sort of mentor or, like, someone who's going to spur you on. And now I think that, like, you know your worth. But in the beginning, we both were just so shaky. And even with Storia, like, we were, like, for real, like, going to hide the fact that we were a mother-daughter team.
Right.
We were, like, had a discussion, like, should we even put that on the website?
Right.
And then you were like, no, we have to fully embrace it. Like,
Yeah.
Because also, like, now I think it's great. Like, it's just, but at the time it was like, because, for example, like, we'd be on a shoot. This was before we became an LLC and we didn't really have a name yet. We were, like, but we had clients. It was really weird.
Yeah.
We kind of worked, it was like a backwards thing. We were, like, getting jobs, but we, like, didn't have a website yet and didn't have things together yet. And I would be like, you know, we'd be setting up the gear in front of the client or something, and I'd be like, Mom, can you pass me the lens or blah blah the blah 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 lens? And they'd be like, Mom. And I was like, I thought they knew that you were my mom, but then it's just so funny. So, like, now I think most people we market that, but also, I mean, I don't have any shame that you're my mom. I was afraid. I wasn't ashamed of you, by the way. It was more, I was afraid that people would think that, like, oh, my mommy is just helping me. Oh, my mom's just helping me. But it's like, you're not my helper. That's why I really intentionally try to call you Rena when we're in front of clients. I'm like, this isn't, and I hate to say just my mom. That's not what I mean. I'm like, you are my mother and my business partner.
Right.
But you are my mother.
Right. So
it's really funny.
Yeah.
But do you feel like, how do you feel about, like, how we work together? And, like, because sometimes people ask, like, how do you balance, like, your personal relationship with your professional?
Yeah.
And that's a weird question because I don't know how to answer that. I have a response, but what do you think?
It is it is definitely crazy sometimes, right? Because we think a lot alike, but we also think a lot very different sometimes.
Sure.
So
how we would approach a project or whatever.
Yeah, I think we both bring a very unique perspective to it, which, like, fills in the gaps, you know, like, you're younger, so you're more, I don't know, in tune to, you know, certain things with social media and all of that. But I'm a little older, so, like, I have more maybe experience in that relational part with clients. Not that you're not great at it, because you are. But I think together, like, we cover this, like, gambit of I think that may be our super, like, we can relate to a wide variety of people and ages.
Yeah.
You know, I think, like, somebody's not just saying, oh, well, this young, not that you're a young girl, but, like, am I going to be able to trust this younger person in business?
Yeah.
Or, you know.
Totally.
You know, combined with me, like, I think it gives a kind of a credibility. I don't know.
It does.
You might get more flack because, like, I wonder if people say to you, like, how can you work with your mother? Like,
I don't
that's
get
got
flack.
a connotation.
I think it's more like people are interested and just curious because to me, my whole life it's been normal to work with you and to collaborate.
Yeah.
And to collaborate with you.
Yeah.
But for other people, they're like, oh, I could never start a business with my mom. I'm like, but you know what? I don't think I could start a business with Dad. Like
right.
I don't know if we would work well together. So
yeah,
I'm like,
no.
you don't, like, you might, like, I know people in my life, they're a sibling team.
Yeah.
Or they're a husband-wife team. Like,
right.
I don't know what that's like. So you figure out what works for you. Like, it doesn't mean start a business with every family member.
Right.
But, like, find people who have your back.
Yeah.
Seek out a business partner. or just a sport, a mentor, or whatever that is. So I don't know. For me, I'm like, it's such a weird question.
Right.
And maybe because people everyone has a different relationship with their mom. Or
Yeah.
maybe they don't have a mother. Like, it's a lot. It's loaded. It's a loaded
It
question. But I'm just grateful to collaborate with you and partner with you because we spur each other on.
And sometimes we like cross over into that like mother-daughter thing, and it's like, I think we
have our fights.
I think we're really good at like stepping back though. Sometimes
we'll have to
when
ask
that starts-
Michelle. Michelle's our
my
producer.
God, poor Michelle.
So we're in meetings, and sometimes like every now, like I'll try to be professional, and then you'll say something. I'm like, Mom,
right?
And I'm like, okay, wait, that's not good for our
right.
Poor contractors are like, what the heck is going on? But no, I think we do a good job. It's like a good. I hate the word balance, but like a good harmony. I guess like our mentor Lee, Morton. Shout out to him. He talks about that like work-life harmony,
right.
And I think we have a good job of respecting each other's boundaries of like, hey, like calling each other and be like, hey, I have a question right now, or when it's the weekend and we don't have a shoot or we're not working, we don't really talk about work.
Yeah,
we try to just be like, we have a relationship outside of Storia.
Exactly.
Which is cool.
Exactly. And I think we've worked hard to get to that point too, because at the beginning it was very easy just to talk about this all the time.
And the people,
because we were excited about it.
We were excited about it, but then the people around us were like, can you guys like relax? Like, because I have to be mindful for the sake of our other family members. Like my sister and Chris, my husband, and like, I mean, I don't know, or dad, or I mean, I think everyone's super supportive, but like just remembering to be respectful of like, I can't just talk about business all the time. Just because it's my passion doesn't mean it's everyone's passion.
And I have another question. Like,
sure.
Do you we didn't even talk about the fact that like we're Italian.
Oh, we didn't even. Is it obvious?
I know that's a whole nother.
It's probably obvious.
It's obvious, right? But like. That takes it to a whole nother level. Like, I think.
What does that mean?
Yeah, like, because. But where I think where it helps us is that, like, we're so used to, like, we can get all, bent out of shape about something, but then in 5 minutes, we're like, what's for dinner? We're over it. Like, I think.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
Culturally,
like, there's a lot of.
banter yelling,
and passion about things, and everybody gets loud and all. But like, it never is like, well, I'm never gonna speak to you again. It's just like
you're just like, let me cool off and I'll circle back.
Yeah. So I think. Can
I tell you a side note?
Sure. I love side note.
I really feel like this has literally like nothing to do with our business.
You say that all the time. This has nothing to do with anything.
This has nothing to do with anything, but like being an Italian woman. So I started going to counseling like 2 years ago.
Because of your mother? No.
No.
They always blame the mother.
No, they don't.
Just kidding.
No, so I started going to therapy 2 years ago. And I'm like a lot more chill at my appointments now, but I was really like scared. Like my first appointment, I was so nervous that I was talking, if it's even possible, I was talking even faster than this. And I was so worked up during this is my first appointment to my therapist. I literally said, write this down. I'm an Italian woman. Oh I told her what to write down. I said, write this down. And she's like, what does being an Italian woman mean to you? Because I was so like worked up, but it's such an identity thing. But I was like, you better make a note of that. But like, how Italian of me to be like, you better write that down. Like, I'm so
like that explains a lot.
I know. I was like, just like Google an Italian woman, like an Italian American. But anyways, like, shout out to my therapist. She puts up with a lot. But anyways,
no, that's awesome.
No, yeah, I think there's something to be said, and I think we'll tap into that in this podcast a little bit more about like our,
But when you circle
I think story,
to make it relatable to everybody out there.
We went somewhere.
But like, the bottom line is, it really is great to have somebody that has your back in business.
Yeah,
and a shout out to everybody that's doing it alone. It's a lot.
Yeah,
because we're able to like kind of divide things up. Mm-hmm. Like, totally. I'm more the administrative person. You don't have to really worry about that. Yeah. And that like I'm not ever cheating you.
No. Literally.
I'm looking more out for you than I am for myself. Yeah. So like that's a great thing. But like, so, to find somebody to work with, I just feel like it makes it less lonely. It makes it more productive. But like when you're doing it by yourself, like you just have to
find that community.
You have to find that community, and you just have to like, take a little bit more precaution that you're not burning yourself out because you don't have somebody to like
To call that out.
yeah, you definitely need somebody to like, you know, bounce ideas off of. So
Yeah.
you know, and that's what I like about the photography and video community. I just
Yeah.
feel like we've met so many people that are so willing to share.
Yeah.
You know, so like even to get a coach like Lee, or you know, just talk to different people,
colleagues,
and-
finding contractors,
Yes,
finding
yes.
friends in the industry.
Oh my gosh.
Who are at multiple levels.
Yes, I love it.
It's so collaborative.
It is, and it's so like I don't think. I mean, I don't know
It's kind
about
of
you, but
rare.
I haven't really come across anybody that's so competitive that they won't share.
Yeah.
like I
Most
love
people
that.
are chill.
Yes, I
Yeah.
love that, and that's kind of what we want to do here. Is just like
Yeah.
be an open book. Like why not?
I know. What's there to hide?
Yeah, no, like me hiding something is not going to make me better than anybody else.
Yeah.
You know, we just sharing that I think really helps everybody.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. And I'm
Yeah.
excited to like use this podcast as a place to dive into that, where
Right.
it's similar to like when you first started the business. It's like you were spurring me on, but it's like it's a space where we're spurring each other on,
Yeah.
where like it's a marathon. We're all running this marathon together. Especially these days, right? And
Yeah.
and we just want to again like debrief these stories and
Yeah.
hope it brings value to people. If not, I hope you were entertained.
Yeah,
you know?
I know,
So
right?
I would say, yeah, like
Yeah,
I'm grateful. I'm excited for
I
this
was going to
new
say that too. I'm
endeavor.
grateful. I was
Oh,
going to say
get out
that.
of
See,
here.
we do that
Stop
all the time.
it.
I know. But no, I'm I'm really grateful. I'm grateful that I have a daughter that like would even want to go into business with
Oh my
her
God.
mother.
I can't believe you would want to go into business with me.
I know.
Because I'm a lot.
Yeah, well.
Jeez. On that note.
note.
Okay, I think, I mean, I would say let's wrap up here.
Yeah.
I mean, this seems weird because we're recording this and we haven't published it yet, but if you like this podcast, like, I guess leave us a review. I don't know. I've never
Yeah, what
done
do you
that
say?
before.
Like subscribe to that? I don't
Leave
know
us a
what
review.
I'm
You
doing.
can subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can follow us for more behind the scenes at storia.studio. But really, to be honest, I'm just glad you're here. And if you made it this far, like, thanks for listening. Like,
Yeah.
you don't even have to like or subscribe. Like, I'm just like, thanks for listening.
Thanks for
you know,
listening.
and
I know, it was fun.
it was fun.
Yeah.
And we did it, Mom.
We did it. We made it.
Wow.